Well, good morning, everyone. Byron here for another Maximals Tech Talk. Today, I wanted to have a chat with you guys about audio, microphones particularly, audio settings generally, and then hopefully later we'll get into some game if I have enough time. So why do I want to talk to you about microphones? Been a lot of conversation around. I've seen a lot of chatting going on about what microphones you should get, how you get your sound working better, what you can do in that space. You can drop a lot of money on microphones quite easily. A lot of the streamers are using, four, five, six, $800 microphones, really sensitive microphones. But then again, you watch other streamers like Seven, for example, who just uses an SM58 through a sound. Obviously, he's a muso. He's got all that gear sitting there, but it sounds perfectly fine, and you're probably finding he's doing really minimal processing to get a great sound out of his microphone for what he wants. So that's what I'm talking to you about this morning. Now, for this right now, I am using a Sennheiser 845. It is a vocal microphone. It's a dynamic microphone. It's not it's not a condenser. It's not an instrument microphone. It's not one of those Gucci things. You can pick them up on special, usually for under $100 quite easily, but they do require some sort of audio interface. You can pick up audio interfaces. You can pick up cheap USB equipped sound desks for just one or two channels for under $100 easily, or proper USB interfaces for about the same money. So you don't really need to be spending huge amounts of money depending on what sound you want. Now, I have this set up. I've got some processing on this. I've got some stuff going on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you through a selection of my personal microphones and show you what they sound like with the human voice with zero processing. Okay? So let's go there. The first one up is what I'm going to do as well. I'm going to hold them as close as possible to this microphone so that you'll get a reasonable comparison, because really this is about the distance a lot of people are using their streaming mics at, 6 to 8 inches, which is good as well for other reasons, which I may go into later if I get time. So first off, exactly the same microphone, but with no processing. Okay, so here we have the Sennheiser 845, no processing at all. I'm trusting Streamlabs OBS to adjust my levels for me. But aside from that, so this is what this microphone sounds like, completely raw. No equalization, no filters, no noise reduction, no gates, no compression, no nothing of that on that. It's just straight from the microphone into my sound desk, into the audio in on my computer. So that's exactly what this microphone sounds like. I'm just going to swap back for a second so I can change mics. Okay, swapping back. The next microphone off the rank. I should have put these within easy reach. Didn't do that. Silly me. Now the next microphone off the rank is the Audix i5. I use a lot of Audix gear for the price. It's amazing stuff. This Audix i5 that you can see here, I'll just show you a bit closer, is the Audix's equivalent to the industry staple, the Shure SM57. It's an instrument mic. As a sound guy, one thing I really like about this, you can see there an integral metal head. I have watched the plastic top on SM57s go flying more than once from over-enthusiastic drummers. You can't get that problem. You will go places, especially pubs and clubs, where they don't trust the visiting musos that much, actually tape a metal fork over the top to protect the microphone from the drummer. If it's got a metal head, you don't need that. So this is an instrument microphone, which means it's a little bit brighter sound-wise, a little bit less boomy in the bottom end, a bit more direct sound. So let's see what that sounds like. Okay, so this is the Audix i5. This is completely raw. Again, no processing whatsoever on this. This is another dynamic microphone, but it has a slightly different frequency response. The 845 is designed for vocals, though you can use it on instruments if you want to. This is designed for instruments, has a slightly different pickup pattern. Again, you're hearing this with the spoken voice. 7, I think, uses an SM57, which is an instrument mic. There are a couple of bands out there as well. I think Jet is one of them that use SM57s on everything. Vocals, drums, guitar cabinets, the whole lot. Universal microphone. This is Audix's equivalent. I actually prefer this slightly in tone to the 57, but they're pretty equivalent microphones. Another thing as well, I like using instrument mics on female vocals, especially in a live context. I prefer the 57 on most females because women usually have a warmer voice. Warmer means more low-mid frequencies in it. It can make it sound muddier. Having a microphone like this that doesn't emphasize those frequencies quite as much can mean the female voice cuts through just a little bit better. So the less I have to do in EQ to get the voice through, the better for me. So back on the Sennheiser again. Next microphone off the rank is my personal favorite. This one is a condenser. So condenser needs phantom power. So the difference here is, I'm going to turn that on. So the difference is that dynamic microphones usually rely on something like a normal standard magnet, or they rely on, so whereas the condenser requires power to produce a more sensitive magnetic field. So condenser microphones are usually more sensitive. They pick up finer nuances. But that can produce its own problems, which I will go to a bit later with my studio mic. So swapping over to this microphone, which is Shure's Beta 87 Charlie, Beta 87C, which means these are all cardioid microphones. What does cardioid mean? Think of a heart shape placed over the top of the microphone. That's your pickup pattern. So the top of the heart where the V is faces down, so it doesn't pick up as much from behind, nothing from directly behind, but picks up everything from in front. It helps isolate room reflections and things like that in this case. So swapping over to that. Okay, so this is Shure's Beta 87. It is a really sensitive microphone. I love singing into this microphone, especially I do a lot of church stuff, and you get those soft, gentle tones where you're being a bit more breathy. This picks up all of that. Good thing and also bad. Sometimes defaulting to a dynamic that is slightly less sensitive can help you deal with singer issues. This microphone is brilliant. I love this microphone. This is probably the one I would default to streaming-wise. It would appear that my webcam is having an issue in this format at the moment. Okay, we're back. Just had to change cameras. Fortunately, I had a spare. So where were we up to? We'd just done the Beta 87 Charlie. Now we are going to swap back to the next one. This is the next expensive one. Right, this is the last one I'll show you before I drop back to my other microphone. This is another condenser. This is a small diaphragm condenser. This one's usually used for things like drum overheads, but you can use it for like room microphones, things like that. You can use it for all sorts of stuff. Okay, let's just listen to it. Okay, so this is the let me just turn that down. That is ridiculously loud. Okay, so this here is the condenser. Really, really, really sensitive microphone. It has a different sound altogether. Again, so your microphone choice effects can have a great effect on your sound just straight out of the box. So picking the right microphone for what you're doing and how you want it to sound means you've got to do less later. I'm going to show you a bit about that in a moment. Let me swap mics over again. Okay, so back on the Sennheiser. unplugged that. These microphones individually retail for over $400. I got them in a full drum kit for about $1,000. It was on special. Now, what I'm going to try to do now, if I can get this to work properly, I'm just going to have to muck around a little bit. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I am going to change screens and I am going to change microphones. So here I am. Now this is my little, I'll just swap back for a second. So the microphone I'm using is this bad boy. It's the Little Rode Enter USB Mini. Why did I get it? I got it partly because I needed a microphone in there, cheaper than a lot of them. But I also got it because it has its own little stand, as you see, so I can just plonk it anywhere. I can chuck it in my bag, take it with my laptop. So I'm going to swap over to that right now. Okay, so this is on the Rode Enter USB. Now, why have I got this silly screen up? Let me just bring this here. I'm going to open this up, move this onto one side, and I'm going to bring this up and chuck it in front of my beautiful face so that you don't see like 15 versions of me. So what have I got here? So I have got a couple of filters running here to try and give this a half decent sound on the box, because sitting here on the desktop, I built this desk myself. It's made out of 18mm AAA grade marine ply. Brilliant stuff. It'll last forever. However, it picks up a lot of stuff. So let me just turn all of these off. Turning off the gate, turning off the EQ. So here, now you have what the microphone sounds like in its current environment. Now, I can't hear this myself, but I've listened to it before. It's picking up the reverberations through the desk. It's probably picking up some from the fans and stuff. Yeah, it's nasty. So I can even see, if I stop talking, it's picking up ambient noise in the room. So the first thing I'm going to do, really to try and make it sound better, is I'm going to add some EQ on this. So you can see the EQ I've had here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dial these out again so you can see what a difference they make. I should be able to remember where I put them. Let me turn, actually, let me just do that and that. And then I'm going to come here, turn the EQ back on. Now you see this lovely little yellow line. You should be able to see it coming up and down. That's the frequency response. That's what's happening. That's the frequencies that are coming through from my voice and the room. So I'm going to stop speaking for a couple of seconds. And you can just see a tiny little hump down there at the bottom, just above the 100 Hertz. Normally, that's a lot louder because there's other people in the house, the air conditioning's running. This microphone will pick up the washing machine running in the laundry with the door closed. Crazy sensitive. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a high pass or a low cut filter on this. So that's going to tame, straight away, it's going to tame a lot of those low frequencies. If I stop talking, all of a sudden that little lump of noise down around the 100 Hertz has disappeared completely. And it's taken some of that bottom end rumble out. One of the things that really drives me nuts driving in the car listening to radio is all of these radio announcers where they've dialed up the bottom end, made it really, really sensitive, so there's a deep male voice coming through. My frustration is in my car, there is no flat EQ setting, so all of them EQs boost the bottom end. When you've got a bottomy microphone that's then boosted in the bottom, it's just ridiculous. It hurts my ears, so I just turn the radio off. Another thing you may be able to hear is there's a little bit of a plasticky sound. Part of that is the reverberation through the desk. So if I come back here and turn this one back on, this will take out a little bit of that. I still need to mess with this EQ and fix it up a lot. But I'll do that later. I'll probably listen back to this stream, see how it sounds, and then make some more changes. But yeah, my voice as it stands right now is quite bottomy. You can see a lot there in the like 200 to 500 Hertz range, which is pretty normal. but it is sitting on a wooden desk, which is amplifying that. So wood tends to amplify the 400 to 500 hertz frequency range. So you're getting that. What I might actually do, let me just try something for a moment. I'm going to mute this while I move it and change microphones again. Let me dial this back up because I turned that way down, didn't I? Okay. I'm just going to move this. Okay, so the bass on the Rode microphone is magnetic. I didn't realize that. Turn the Rode back on. Let's bring this back up. And let's see what's happening to the frequency. Okay, so just by doing that, it has completely changed the frequency response of the microphone. I'm going to turn these off again. Okay, turn these off, and yeah, it's a different picture. You're getting a lot more higher frequency. So you're getting, now it's on a metal surface. It's changing the sound of the microphone. So what ideally I should have this microphone on a microphone stand which isolates it from everything around it. Currently you have a mechanical connection between the microphone and its environment. So that's not ideal. So having it on the desk is bad. The other thing I do, I have a noise gate. I'm going to turn that on. Why do I turn the noise gate on? It's because when I stop talking, it just takes out those background noises. So you can't hear the fridge running, or the fridge turning on and off, which you can normally through this microphone. So that's back on. Another thing I would probably do is add some compression. A video like this, it's okay because I can keep my voice nice and high. I'm not going to be changing levels with my voice too much, so I don't really need a compressor on it. I am not a really emotive guy, so I'm not going to all of a sudden get loud for no reason whatsoever. If anything, I'll go quiet. So I don't really need a compressor. Those people who, you see some of them out there, something happens in the game, all of a sudden they yell, please put a compressor on so that you don't blow people's ears out. Now what really? I'm just going to change microphones back again because I can. Let's do this. Let's find where this was. Okay, we're back here. And this camera is working again. It doesn't deal with contrast fantastically well. Oh well, you get that. Okay, so why I changed microphones is because I want to show you this little Rode a bit more. One thing I like, now a lot of them have this already. I'm using it as my audio interface. My headphones are plugged into this, which is fantastic. You can adjust like headphone volume, which is brilliant. So you can leave everything else the same, but if it's getting too loud for you personally, you can dial it down. The other thing I like though, is the built-in monitor system. So I'm listening to myself through this microphone now. I can turn that on and off. I can see that I'm still coming through, but it is really disconcerting to talk with earphones in when you can't really hear yourself. It throws you. So being able to listen to your own voice in real time is fantastic. I love that little feature of this. It's USB-C. So for those of us who use Macs in this day and age, or still use Macs, that makes life fantastic again. So that's probably it, really. I haven't seen any questions come through the chat. If you have any questions about anything, if there's anything you would like me to cover in future tech talks, audio related or not, I can do a breakdown of my audio gear if you like. It doesn't really relate to streaming much. I prefer doing live stuff, which is why I prefer talks like this, being able to sit down and chat and talk about stuff that I know and like. Yeah, it suits me a bit better than sitting there gaming.